The biggest, most well-known Broadway musical is coming to the big screen. And with over $700 million at the box office, it's one of the largest movies based on a stage musical of all time. 10 Academy Award nominations. Wicked for Good hit theaters this week. With how well the first movie did, how could... I mean, it was kind of mid though, right? I'm Zach, and welcome to CTW, or Cinema This Week, a show where we talk movies, TV, and all things entertainment industry from the last 7 days. If you're new around here, hit that like and subscribe because I make these every week. Alright then, let's get into it. A few weeks ago, I went to see Six with my mom. So we got all fancy, we went downtown to go to the theater. Stars like the 6 wives of Henry VIII telling you about their experiences with the king, trying to decide who had it worse. There's a lot of crowd interaction, which I think is fun and different from like a lot of stage productions. So they go one by one, singing a song about how Henry ruined their lives. And I think the best part of the show is that each of the queens have like real life influences and like real life singers that they're based on. Like Catherine of Aragon is based on Beyonce, Jane Seymour is based on Adele, Anne of Cleves is Nicki Minaj and Rihanna. Like it's a really, really fun experience. Also, you're learning about history, which is like my favorite thing of all time. So if you have the chance to go see this show or any show, bring someone, have fun, make a night out of it. I had a great time with my mom, and I'm going to make like a habit out of going to see like live performances, because it was just, yeah, like movies are one thing, but stage and all of that is a complete other, and I respect everyone who does it. So if you were watching the Broncos-Patriots game, which I don't think many of you were, but who knows? I'm not judging. You would have seen a new trailer for Christopher Nolan's new Odyssey film featuring Travis Scott. Christopher Nolan and Travis Scott have worked together previously, as the song The Plan was written by Scott for Tenet, which was a Christopher Nolan film that came out in, I think, 2016. Based on the trailer, Travis Scott seems to be playing like a general or like the leader of an army, sort of recounting the tale of what the Greek army did to Troy. This will be Travis Scott's first film role. He's been involved with several film soundtracks, but his debut in the Odyssey, coming out July 27th of this year, will be obviously his first. Last week on SNL, Alexander Skarsgård hosted with Cardi B as the musical guest. He featured in every sketch besides the cold open and weekend update. This SNL really showed us that he is one of the Skarsgårds that no one really knows. Like, we've heard of Bill, we know Stellan, but all of the sketches were like about his like body. Nothing he's been in, like not even his monologue was about like his movie. It was like, let me talk to the band because you guys don't know who I am. And most of the sketches were like, haha, he's Swedish, or haha, get it, he's tall. But the two standouts, I can still find a good, like, he's still good. So the two I want to talk about are Immigrant Dad Talk Show, or Marcelo Hernandez plays a immigrant dad, obviously, talk show in his backyard featuring like other dads from the neighborhood. This was a funny haha, he's Nordic, but we did get a cameo from Stellan Skarsgård, who is his dad, and Marcelo is really funny in this because he's doing his Dominican bit. Love that. And the second was a play date where Alexander Skarsgård plays like a girl child who's like 6'5" or whatever he is, who starts throwing her new friends out of windows and screaming like a man. Really enjoyed this episode. I watched it with my stepdad, who upon seeing the funny boyfriend sketch started throwing cards against me. So here's that for you. I'd give this a 5 out of 10. I had fun watching it, but it wasn't the funniest SNL. You know, like they could have done better. Something that was the opposite of SNL this week is the new Game of Thrones spin-off show, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I went into this very skeptical because Game of Thrones is known for being grotesque, intensely political, and very morally gray. And when House of the Dragon came out, it was that same, just like political drama, but almost like a level higher, because that was pretty much all that show was. So I thought this would be similar, but thank God I was wrong. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is so much fun. I think we've forgotten how much, or I'd forgotten at least, how much I like to experience the world that is Westeros, the world that is George R.R. Martin. so fun to be back in a funny, absurd story. We step into a Westeros about a century before the events of Game of Thrones, and we follow Sir Duncan the Tall, a hedge knight on his way to compete in a tourney. Along the way, he sort of comes upon a small child named Egg, who follows him, wishing to become his squire. Dunk is very hesitant at first and says no, but when Egg follows him the day's ride to the tourney, he kind of goes, well, you're kind of fighting for this way more than I expected you to, so you can be my squire for the tourney, and, like, you're on probation, so if this goes well, you can be my thing for the long haul, but if it doesn't, you're... And the first night of the tourney, Dunk gets invited to Lionel Baratheon's party by another... I think he's a knight, I'm not sure, and he ends up getting drunk with the Lord. They have a dance scene where it almost feels like the last scene of Challengers in a way. Like, they're both competing for the obvious, but there's that subtext underneath that's like, snaps. No notes. The second episode felt very much like filler, and not much happened that I can recall besides, like, Dunk was like, wow, this is what a tourney looks like, and that was pretty much it. I haven't watched the third episode because I film this on Mondays so that I can get it out by Friday, but hopefully the third episode we start the tourney. Alright, to completely pivot, we're going to talk about the Netflix show Queer Eye. The 10th and final season of Queer Eye premiered last week, so the Fab Five, or should I say the Fab Four, were out doing the morning shows for their press. Karamo Brown, the culture expert on the show, was noticeably absent, and on the Today Show they read a statement from his assistant saying, Karamo has felt mentally and emotionally abused for years, and he has been advised by his therapist to protect himself and his peace by not attending. This is like Marty Supreme levels of marketing. Like, get Karamo up on the sphere, bro. Queer Eye Season 10 is an American TV show that comes out now. My argument against the HBO Harry Potter TV series. We live in a time of fucking nostalgia bait. Your favorite childhood film? What if it was real people? And we're doing it again. And we're doing it again. The Harry Potter movies will always be most people's go-to when they want to visualize Harry Potter. Like, especially if you grew up reading the books as well. The argument I've seen presented is that, but look at how Game of Thrones turned out. How with the TV format, they were able to world build better and flesh out the story more. While I hear you and understand your argument, I raise you. When the Harry Potter movies were coming out, we were all reading the books. Like, do you remember in school when you would, like, read The Outsiders and then you would get to watch the movie? Like, it's the same thing. So you don't need to world build as much because everyone had an understanding of it. They just got to step into the story visually that they'd been experiencing on the page. Like, kids today are reading less. Are we helping them with that by making the books we loved as kids into a TV show? They're ruining this. And like all the movie remakes to come before it, this is an obvious and blatant cash grab. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because I'm heated. Let me know in the comments, bro. Jeez Louise. Moving from remakes to where narrative film thrives, let's talk about Sundance. Every film festival, especially Sundance, is a win for the indie film world, with over 90 films premiering in the first weekend alone, which is crazy. Some standout films like The Gallerist, about, you guessed it, a gallerist who is driven by desperation, hatches a scheme to sell a dead guy at a Miami art gallery. It features Natalie Portman and Jenna Ortega. Josephine, after an 8-year-old girl, Josephine, accidentally witnesses a crime in Golden Gate Park, she acts out in a search of a way to regain control of her safety, while adults are helpless to console her, featuring the acting chops of Channing Tatum and Gemma Chan. And of course, it wouldn't be Sundance without exceptional documentaries. The Brittany Griner story recounts the unjust Russian imprisonment of WNBA star Brittany Griner, and how she aims to help other people wrongfully convicted. The Best Summer tells the story of bands Beastie Boys, Sonic Youth, Foo Fighters, Pavement, Rancid, Beck, The Amps, and Bikini Kill, while at Somersault, a little-known Australian indie music festival. At the time of recording, 4 films have movie deals, so good luck to them, and good luck to all you other guys trying to get movie deals. Now for an absolute loss in the world of filmmaking, Melania.
Fine. But I swear to God, if I hear a single "I told you so," I will go see the Melania movie tonight!
This is a documentary by a sex criminal about the wife of a sex criminal. The documentary follows Melania, as you might have guessed, in the 20 days leading up to the second inauguration of the Cheeto. It's pretty much a 2-hour-long saving of the face on Melania's part. She starts off the documentary with showing us how her and her design partner worked together on her inauguration outfit, which would all be well and fine, but I would say at least 25 minutes is all about this fucking coat and hat. Do we care? Another thing they do really poorly is the vibe of the movie. It's obviously supposed to be a PR pity party fest, but they're not good at convincing us that that's what this is. At one point, Melania goes to St. Patrick's Cathedral to light a candle for her late mother, and it's supposed to be somber. This is supposed to be the heartbeat, but the most deafening
rendition
of Amazing Grace is being played so loudly that it makes you forget what you're doing. And right before the candlelit dinner, Melania is getting dressed and putting on this weird fucking coat that her arms stick out of. I couldn't explain if I tried. And she says something to the effect of, I want to change the role of the first lady away from just parties and socializing. I want to make a real change. And then right after that, it's and it shows the shots of the event she's hosting. It's challengers music over. I'm like, guys, it was a really weird choice. I don't know. It was just weird in general with all of the horrible, horrible things her husband is actively doing to America. So with that, fuck ICE, fuck Trump, and fuck this movie. Obviously, this was a D1 hate watch. I'm not in support of any of this. I'm against it verbally. Let's close out this week's CTW. I want to talk to you about Bugonia. Spoilers ahead, obviously, so if you have yet to see this film, thanks for being here. I'll see you next Friday. For the rest of you, here are my thoughts. So Bugonia is a movie about these two guys who are played by Jesse Plemons and Aiden, I forget his name. Here's his name. And they play these two conspiracy-obsessed guys who kidnap this CEO in fear that she is an alien who's come to destroy Earth. The CEO is played by Emma Stone. The way this plays out is amazing. They've got the tension. Jesse Plemons was so snubbed for an Oscar because he is the lead of this. It's crazy that Emma Stone got a nomination for this and he didn't. That's the level of where we are. But they kidnap her and they shave her head because that's how she communicates with her mothership. And she can't be communicating with her mothership until he says so. And so they wait around for the lunar eclipse, and so she finally takes him back to her work, where they will get beamed up to the mothership via this calculator and a closet. And you're watching girl, what? And then he reveals, as soon as she's about to put him in the closet, he reveals that he's wearing a bomb, and she's like, oh, no, that was very smart. She's playing along, and so he gets into the closet, she presses the button, and he explodes. The bomb goes off, and so she gets knocked out by his head flying through the air and gets knocked out. And so she wakes up in an ambulance, and she goes, and she asks the people, so he's dead? And they go, yeah. It must have been some faulty wiring with the his body heat in the closet must have set off the bomb or something. And so she rips off the oxygen mask and gets out of the ambulance and starts running back to the business. And this was where I was like, oh my god, because you're watching this and he's you're an Andromedan, you communicate via your hair, there's a mothership, and you're like, yeah, for sure, guy, yes there is. But the minute she steps out of this ambulance, you're like, what? And so she goes back, gets beamed up to the mothership, comes out of this amniotic fluid, and it's revealed that she is the emperor. He had been thinking that she was connected to the emperor or maybe next in line, but she's the emperor of this alien race called the Andromedans, and it's wild. The way it ends is, because he's figured it out, she decides that the human race probably shouldn't continue. And so she pops this table that is Earth, pops the atmosphere or something. and it kills all the humans. And we get a montage of just like people dead, and like, while Where Have All the Flowers Gone by Pete Seeger, performed by Marlene Dietrich, plays in the background. The movie starts out with a monologue about how the CEO is killing the bees, and Jesse Plemons' character loves the bees.
The children love the books.
And is a beekeeper and like all this stuff. And so to play Where Have All the Flowers Gone while we're seeing like the remnants of the human race, wow, what a way to end a movie. And my mind was blown. I literally had to sit, like after the credits rolled, I had to like sit in my room and be like, and just like blink. Like I couldn't even like understand what I was just experiencing. And I learned that Yorgos Lanthimos, who is the director of this, also directed things like The Favorite, Poor Things. And so him and Emma Stone have been like working together for a while, and I always think it's so interesting when we get those kind of relationships, because we have like Tim Burton and Winona Ryder, Christopher Nolan and Matt Damon. Like they've all have these actors that they work with that bring out the best in them almost, and I feel like that's what we're seeing here. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was my first 5-star of the year. I had a really good time. I was like really debating giving it a 5-star, but it's like I had the time of my life and I really enjoyed this. So that's going to do it for today's cinema this week. Let me know if you want me to talk about anything in the next episode that you've seen. Have a good one.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever